Go.
NinjaView.
Oh, we're so tired.
We're tired today. This is the second night in New York. This is Jason and Amanda. You probably know them if you're watching this. I'm going to be reading off a wrinkled piece of paper, as all journalists do. You mentioned...
Wait, you're a journalist?
No.
No journalists. I thought,
No,
Eric,
this
get
is
this
over.
guy out of here.
Get this guy out.
My first question is actually going to reveal that I'm not a journalist. Check this out. Check this out. You mentioned at the start of this NinjaView that you were bored with the questions you were getting in interviews from journalists, which I am not. Is there an interview... I added that. It wasn't written here. Is there an interview question either of you have wanted to be asked and never have?
You'd be surprised how often journalists ask me that. Yeah.
That's a hard question.
And I'm not shitting you. Like, that actually happens all the time.
Well, now I feel like a dick.
A better question is like, what's the best question you've been asked?
Why don't you answer that one?
What's the best
That's a
question
better
you've been
question.
Actually, I remember this kid from Norway once was interviewing me in San Francisco. It was just a great interview because he just, I don't know, it just was kind of coming from a different mind. And somewhere like near the end, he said, "What do you consider to be your greatest failure?" And I don't. It's just such a like wow. Like interviewers don't ask.
They usually
that
ask
kind of
your
thing.
greatest moment.
Yeah.
That's
What
a
was your
great
greatest
question.
failure?
What was I don't remember. I just remember it was a good question.
Okay, then.
I can't talk about my greatest failures. They're very personal.
Greatest artistic failure?
Yeah, they're probably this record.
Yeah,
That's good. Just, sell it.
that is a good question, though.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask that question.
It's also fantastic for trying to pick up women. Hey,
Hey,
you're sitting here all alone.
what would you say?
Can I buy you a drink? So, what's your greatest failure in life?
Wow.
No, she'd probably walk away.
She would.
You'd make her cry.
Okay, question number 2.
Sorry.
Do you worry that the constant communication with fans through Twitter and blogs and interviews and empty theaters, does that make it so you have less to say when it actually comes time to do your art? Or are they such different forms of communication that one doesn't exhaust the other?
I do worry about it, and I actually do think it's very valid. I don't so much worry about it as observe it, but I have definitely noticed that, mostly due to my blog, but also a little bit due to Twitter, my thoughts don't germinate and then morph into song or idea quite as much as they used to because of the kind of instant gratification platform of being able to, blog about certain things. That being said, I've also changed as an artist, and my songwriting hasn't really suffered. Like, I'm not out of songs, and I never have writer's block, ever. And I'm not just a songwriter and an artist. I'm a person who has to constantly tour, record, perform, and using blogging and twittering makes that part of my life much richer and much more interesting and much more connected with the people that I am with, who I've been connecting with. And then when I finally hit a city and people feel like they know me, because they kind of do, it's much more satisfying than just getting up in front of a bunch of people that I haven't been connected with, delivering my material and then walking away. So it's very pros and cons.
Okay.
For me.
You have anything there?
I mean, I treat that stuff kind of differently than Amanda does. I don't really. I do Twitter and those things a bit. I've never been one to blog. I've never been one to update fans with the minutia of my day. I use those things kind of as a promotional tool and don't really think of them outside of that. And so
Well, but also just even in just terms of personal style, pre-Twitter, pre-everything,
Yeah.
Jason's not really an oversharer of his personal life with his fans. And so if you were to take an average Jason Webley fan and Amanda Palmer fan who, have been following us for the same length of time and, we're fans at the same level, my fans would know an infinitely larger amount of just personal shit about me. Whether that's a good thing is anybody's guess, because it certainly does destroy mystique. Like, I can't have a Mystique, you know?
Do you
But
care about
there's-
that?
Well, I mean, I care about it at, to whatever level that I'm doing what I'm doing or not doing what I'm doing. I don't think that there's a right way and a wrong way. I think that there's a huge value to Mystique for artists who protect their information and their lives and who don't, just kind of like show all and tell all. Because then you can be anything to anyone. And that's usually, what is so alluring to people about Mystique and artists who do, step back.
I used to cultivate Mystique more. Now I actually kind of actively try to be. I mean, I don't share everything that's going on in my life in like any kind of public forum. But as far as like being approachable, like online or offline, I try to remain incredibly open to just if anyone wants to come up and ask me pretty much anything, I'll try to answer them.
Okay. Okay. Well, my next question is actually related. It's, do you worry about the fact that even though there's a lot more communication now between artists and fans, this open communication, it's still being done mainly through large corporations, YouTube and Twitter. Does that worry you at all, or?
No, actually it doesn't worry me, and I was just in the Twitter offices.
Were you?
About a month ago, well, not even, like 3 weeks ago when we were on tour in San Francisco. And they don't feel like a large corporation to me. They feel like a bunch of awesome, geeky people in an office excited about what their technology can do to change the world. And so, actually, like, I really liked going and connecting with them, and I'm actually inspired to use Twitter because of what I see its possibility being. But, Twitter is different maybe from MySpace or even Google or like some giant behemoth. And those things are constantly shifting and changing. And, behind all of those corporations are just human beings. And human beings, especially when in giant groups, are like, always flawed. It's just the way it goes. But, we're human culture. Like, everything is systems. So that's like, asking me if I feel guilty about the fact that, like, I use, public roadways. No, I don't. Is there a lot of bad shit that happens because of public roadways? Like, definitely, yeah. Like, there's corruption all over the place, and tons of things suck. But I don't spend too much time concerning myself with what's behind everything because I would drive myself crazy.
I fear we have to do one more question, and then we gotta open up the doors for the show.
Yeah, and our alarm is just about to ring, so we're right on time.
I'll make it a short one then, because I'm actually curious about this. When you recorded the album, did you do it with the shared instruments like you perform it?
You'd have to ask the twins.
Oh.
Yeah, they're locked in a closet upstairs.
No, I mean, composing that music and then deciding how to perform it were really separate things.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. These are great. These were really great questions.
We were so sleepy. We're sorry.
Yeah, this was one of the sleeping. These were really great questions.
They were good questions.
I had like a whole wrinkly paper.
Here, let's look at the rest of them.
These are the rest of the
Actually,
questions.
we're cut. The time's cut off.
Oh,